on the black, and hopefully his knuckles are okay, because he did celebrate rather dramatically, punching the table. Came off the back of a couple of Murphy celebrations earlier in the session, a couple of black ball frames he won. All part of the show, isn't it? All of that.
Yeah, I don't know how much of those celebrations from Shaun that Steve Maguire witnessed, because they were sort of done out of shot in front of Shaun as he walked out to, I beg pardon, in front of Stephen as he walked out to leave the auditorium. But we all saw Steve Maguire's response at the end of the session, because that was a huge frame. 10-6 is massive. 9-7. You know, both players are still in the match, but you can see the respective highest breaks of the players. 66 in a match that has already lasted 16 frames from Shaun Murphy. It's unthinkable, really.
Yeah, I mean, the century count is low this year anyway, 31 so far. Although we're at the halfway point, there's plenty of time for things to change. But weather conditions have changed during the tournament. It's quite damp outside. And also, I don't think anyone thinks these pockets are playing generously this year. It's led to some very interesting matches, some close frames, including in this one, of course. There's Murphy's record 22nd appearance. He's looking for a 10th quarter-final. Of course, he's a former champion and 3 times runner-up.
Well, that safety shot from Shaun has left the chance of a red to the left centre for Steve Maguire. He wants none of it. You can see the red there to the right of the pink. That's another difference when you have a lead of 10-6. You don't need to take risks, but your opponent may have to in an attempt to get back into a match that is beginning to lose.
That waistcoat is certainly sparkling, isn't it? Murphy's snooker needs to do the same. Yeah, Maguire is looking for an 8th Crucible quarter-final. He was hit 2 years ago, didn't qualify last year, and has had a relatively quiet season, but played very well against Ali Carter in the first round. 6 minutes in, nothing potted yet.
Stephen probably thought the chances of potting this red would be 1 in 10. Got to trust the true rolling of the cue ball, playing it so slowly, but it was a free go. He didn't think he could possibly leave Shaun a pot on, and he hasn't really. Well, Shaun is looking at potentially cutting this red into the left centre. As long as the cue ball doesn't cannon into the pink, there's definitely a chance that he could end up being on the black, but no, turning it down. Oh, that's played nicely. have to say, it was a really good shot from Steve Maguire to control the cue ball so well, but players are always petrified at playing a shot like that because you just do not know where those reds are going to finish. They go everywhere, and you just pray that the ball doesn't find its way near the centre pocket. Two very nearly did there.
One.
Yeah, nicely done. Deadlock broken. So a big standoff in this frame. Nearly 10 minutes that was until the first red was potted. Can Maguire now take advantage of what is a good position? And that was the point, of course. They were both trying to keep one another out. He decided to go for the red. He has done. And it's a chance to get going and possibly move into a 5-frame lead.
Yes, and you could see Shaun's response to that red going in from Steve Maguire, because the position of the reds told him and us and Stephen probably that this really is a great chance to win the frame at this very opportunity. And that's a case in point. You see, he's played for us red into the left corner. He's not on it, but there are 2 or 3 alternatives.
Well, he's been able to pretty effectively control the match, Maguire. He is a heavy scorer himself, but tactically very astute as well. He's brought the two sides together, and he's just managed to keep Murphy at bay. Been saying all match because we've done all 3 sessions, but if you are tuning in for the first time, we haven't seen much of him this season. I think one of the reasons is he just doesn't like the sort of soulless qualifying environment. He can't get motivated, and of course when you drop out the top 16 you have to go to those qualifiers. But on this sort of stage he comes alive. He's a proven winner, 6 ranking events, UK champion, all the rest of it, twice a semi-finalist here. So this is where he comes alive, and we've seen that against Carter. We're seeing it again against Shaun Murphy. I think everyone in the game recognises Steve Maguire as a proper player, a proper competitor, and a proven winner. And OK, he's been quiet of late, but what a time to suddenly start making yourself known again.
29.
Yes, I've already mentioned he's chopped and changed cues, but he's also experimented with ash-shafted cues, maple-shafted cues. And in the end, he didn't really know what to play with, so much so that he actually had a maple cue once and actually, with a pencil, actually imprinted the grain of an ash cue upon the maple. Extraordinary thing. I've never come across that.
37.
.44. 44 in front. There's a few reds safe which are in his favour with the lead he's building.
45. $50. 51.
Well, the fact that there are 4 reds on cushion rails, a brown and the pink tied up, have become to be very advantageous now for Steve Maguire. 2 or 3 more loose reds, and this frame certainly will be won, and the lead will be extended to 5 frames. And what's more, if there's to be an interval, he's guaranteed to have a lead going into it.
Yes, I mean, this is the start Murphy desperately needed to come in and dominate the first frame, but the opposite's happened. So the task becoming more serious for the former champion.
And we're seeing here the real advantages of having a complete and utter all-round game. Shaun is an all-round player, has a great tactical ability, great at getting snookers and getting out of them,
65.
but he chooses to play very much an all-out attack type of game. And I think it's why we're seeing, you know, players such as Neil Robson really struggle, who's again based such an emphasis on
66.
potting and break building. But when you have an all-round game, you can begin to shut out players like Shaun Murphy if you don't miss easy pots and you're scoring quite well, and that's exactly what Steve Maguire has done for the majority of this match.
Well, he potted the last open red. It was the one he needed, and surely done enough here. Three snookers required. He made play-ons first frame of the day, but it's a long way back, and it's a long way back in general in the match. I thought he got that, actually, but not to be. Yeah, Murphy's got to show some belief here. Even just playing on here, not giving the frame up. Remember, the winner plays David Gilbert. We know that Judd Trump will play Jack Jones. The rest of the round will be sorted out tomorrow. We've got 4 finishes on Monday, ahead of the quarterfinals Tuesday, Wednesday, as we move into the second week of this great championship. The final will start a week today, in fact.
Well, Shaun has an opportunity here to cut this red in that's nearly on the brown spot, get onto the black, try to pot 2 or 3 reds with colours to make his task of getting... Well, he may as well concede now. He won't, because he's a gentleman and you're not supposed to concede on your opponent's shot.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know, that expression, I think. Nothing going right from yet, and time running out for Shaun Murphy in this match. So it took nearly 10 minutes for the first ball to be potted, but after that, Steve Maguire controlled things very nicely indeed. Made a 68 break, and he leads 11-6. He's 2 away.
The 18th frame. Shaun Murphy to break.
So Shaun Murphy in trouble here at the Crucible this morning. 11-6 down. Steve Maguire needs 2 more frames to take on Dave Gilbert in the quarterfinals. Murphy was just completely shut out of that last frame. And he's been largely shut out of the match.
And It's so often a disadvantage breaking off. It's difficult to not leave a pot on for your opponent, and with an 11-6 lead, I think I fancy Stephen to knock this in. Shaun will certainly attempt this red, the one that Stephen's just missed. But he has to keep consistently knocking these in. Surely he won't play that 3/4 red to the left corner. Less chance of getting on a colour. It's safer to play it, less likelihood of leaving something on. Oh, great pot. Unfortunately, he's just finished a little straight on the blue, but that's exactly the sort of pot that Shaun needs to pot in regularly from here on in. He's a very good rest player, Shaun. He hasn't been a very good rest player during the course of this match, but I wonder if he'll try to remove that red away from the black to bring the black into play here.
Seven.
Oh, very unlucky there. He played that red with the rest very well, but again, he's dead straight on the blue, and it's absolutely no good to him now. There's no chance on the blue he can play for a red. So having to play this much more difficult yellow. Oh, dear. Well, just look at that. It's just not Shaun's day already, is it?
9.
No, there are little clues, aren't there, that it might not be, as you say, your day.
Shaun Murphy, 9.
Well, Shaun has the opportunity here to play a safety shot off the red next to the black, which would bring it into play. Doesn't have to, but I think he needs to give himself every opportunity to play the game on his terms. And of course, he's such a great break builder, such a great potter and attacking player. Oh, the top red of the two together near that left corner. Can't be possible for Steve Maguire to play that safety. But it's useful having a red in bulk because Shaun Murphy can't really play a safety shot now into bulk. Unless he can bring it back down the table, but I don't think he can see it. So he could end up playing the two reds together along this top cushion, play one into the other, and they'll go up the table a little bit towards the blue. Hasn't looked at it yet, but maybe the shot he ends up playing, perhaps.
Thank you, the third row.
Nice camera shot of a dead straight red to this left corner, but Shaun would only take that on if there's simply no other alternative.
Well, this is a bit like the red he potted in frame one to start that 68 break.
One.
Yeah, same result. Cue balls just kept running, though. Just kept running, didn't it? Looked like he'd be nicely on a bulk colour.
Stephen took the red on because he knew there was a gap through the reds to bring the cue ball back towards bulk. Nestling in behind the brown, another headache for Shaun Murphy. Just look at the position of the reds. But he should be able to, and you can see the disappointment in Stephen there, but he should be able to come off the left-hand side cushion and rest on the two reds.
Again, though, Murphy just being kept at bay. I mean, Stephen Maguire, when he was young, he practiced a lot with Stephen Hendry, which was a real education. Hendry was, you know, the best player in the world, best player ever at that point. But he's also, of course, practiced a lot with John Higgins, and he's learnt the other side from him, the match play game. And you put the two together, obviously it's pretty formidable. There was one occasion, I remember him saying, obviously, he spent a lot of time picking the balls out for Stephen Hendry. There's one occasion he beat him in practice. And Stephen Hendry said, right, we'll play again tomorrow morning, be here at 9 o'clock. And Maguire thought, I've got to be there on time, I'm not going to be late. So he got there early, he got there about 20 to 9. He said he went into the room and Stephen Hendry had set the table up and was sat waiting with his cue. So disappointed he was to lose a practice match. That was his mentality. He was determined to beat him. But that's where Maguire learnt, and what an education from Hendry and Higgins. You can't ask for better than that, really.
No, just very fortunate that they all live in Scotland and have the opportunity to practice with one another. Absolutely. I mean, Stephen was a winning machine, wasn't he, Stephen Hendry? Every time he won a tournament, he didn't really celebrate. He didn't really have all that many friends, to be honest. And his manager at the time would insist on just a couple of days off and he'd be back practicing for the next event.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible record. 29 matches in a row he won, 5 world titles in a row. Just can't see those particular records being beaten. But in this era, of course, there's many players who are trying to get themselves on the trophy. McMurphy's already on it. Maguire kind of felt maybe like he'd missed his chance, but maybe not. The snooker he's playing this year against Carter, now against Murphy. He's looking good for a quarter-final spot.
Just to give you an idea of how tough Steve Maguire is making life for Shaun Murphy here during the course of this match. Shaun Murphy is averaging 26 seconds a shot. He's having to think so many times when he comes to the table in some sort of safety predicament. He's just completely stifled Shaun Murphy's natural rhythm and flow. The red closest to the black isn't potable. But is Steve Maguire taking this on? This is a test of anyone's cueing. Well, his main focus was getting the cue ball back to bulk, which he's done, but where's this red going to finish? Definitely potable for Shaun. This is the first decent opportunity that Shaun's given himself now. Got to score from it.
One.
Yes, I mean, it's pretty stark, isn't it? There's no sort of leeway, there's no wriggle room. He's absolutely got to make the most of this because it's been so hard just getting in, getting a chance. It's taken most of the morning to just get an opportunity like this.
Yeah, he had one in the previous frame, but just couldn't land the right side of the blue and broke down eventually. Now, this is awkward for Shaun. And the reason it's awkward is because the black isn't available, the red next to it very tricky to get onto. And if Shaun were to pop the pink spot's available, and it's right next to red that would tie it up. And, well, as you can see, he's already out of position. In fact, I don't think he's on anything.
No, and this is the other thing about when you get protracted safety, it can, you know, the balls can go awkward, it just makes it harder. Going for this one, though. Big shot.
7.
Great shot.
Oh, just a delight to watch Shaun Murphy cueing well. And that was just beautifully struck. And he landed so nice on the blue. He can play now for the red that's so close to that pink spot. So now if he plays for the pink, it'll be an open play, and it's something that Shaun badly needed.
$13. 19.
Yeah, Shaun just had to guess at the speed that cue ball would rebound from the side cushion, and it seemed to come off a lot quicker than Shaun thought it would. Played for a red into the right corner. He's now looking to see if there's any chance he can squeeze this red in. Problem is, if he does, can he get onto the black from it? He's got to apply a lot of side spin to the cue ball, left-hand side, to try and spin that red into the pocket, but it could easily wobble off the bottom draw and not go in. I don't think he can play this.
Well, he's already pulling up trees, isn't he? Just to be still going. Another great shot, actually.
20.
So, still work to do in this frame, but he's where he wants to be, which is at the table. He spent a lot of time not here, sitting, watching.
Yeah, the key thing there was for Shaun, that red actually did pot, incredibly. Didn't think he could see enough of the red. But Shaun knew better. But is this in? Only just. Well, you see, potted the red so thinly, the cue ball finished much lower on the black 35. Than it should have done. And Shaun had to try and cannon the pink there, and he's failed in that attempt. Probably feels the cloth is playing a little on the heavy side. And he's very frustrated at the moment.
Yes, he just hasn't established any flow, any rhythm, has he? That's the problem. Still on the red, though. He's still keeping this break going somehow.
36.
Yes, but failing to cannon into the pink left him out of position, and he's still out of position because he could do with being on the black to get onto these reds. Has no choice now but to
42.
Play for the pink, and he's the wrong side of that. It's just heavy weather, but my goodness, that 50 points lead is a big one when you consider the position of the reds and the colours, the green tied up. So I think Shaun would be content just to pot a high-value colour here to virtually assure him of victory in this frame, considering, as I say, the position of the balls.
Good. Blue ball. $47.
It's one of those frames. I think if Stephen Maguire was 55 in front, you could put your house on him winning this frame from here. Shaun Murphy, though, lost a frame like this yesterday, didn't he, when he was 60-odd in front? The last frame of the day, that's where Maguire celebrated. Came perilously close to moving the green, but anyway, it was a great break, that, really. It's only 47, but he did brilliantly to keep it going.
While there are 5 reds on the table and 67 points remaining, Stephen's still very much in this frame. If he'll have the opportunity, he hasn't got the opportunity here, but maybe he can play a safety shot to bring reds into play, and that could change the complexion of this frame. That was tough. Could have finished worse, but this red is certainly potable for Shaun.
1.
I'm not sure who's logging the unforced errors, but I think that's a rather subjective view. Anyway, Murphy knocks a red in, takes 8 points off the table. That's the key thing about that.
Rambo.
And this Brown and Maguire will need a snooker. Yeah, he's worked hard, hasn't he, to win this frame. He's having to in this match.
5.
Would love this red in, because it's only one snooker needed at the moment. Yeah, good frame from Murphy. One thing about him is he won't have given up. You know, he's in the hole, but he'll fight hard. He loves playing here at the Crucible.
$13. 14. 21. Foul, Steve Maguire.
Well,
4.
doesn't
Shaun
matter.
Murphy,
The
21.
frame is his.
Frame.
He made a break of 47. It doesn't sound much, but it was a well-worked break. It got him in front, and he's killed the frame off. So we're back to 4 in it at 11-7.
Back and settle down, please. The 19th frame, Steve Maguire to break.
So it's 11-7. Shaun Murphy has won frame 2 of the day. Still in trouble, though, trailing 11-7 with, of course, the target 13. The longest word in sport is if. And if he can win the next 2, it's 11-9. It's close. Who knows? Equally, Steve Maguire could win 13-7. We just don't know. But Murphy at least involved in the session now. And as I say, he'll show resolution here. He's one of those players, he's not just sort of limiting the damage. He still believes he could turn this round, I'm sure.
One.
That's another wonderful pot from Shaun Murphy. Wasn't too bad a break-off from Steve Maguire. Sometimes you don't mind your opponent taking pots on like that, because if they miss them, you could be right in yourself. But Shaun has a good opportunity here at the beginning of this frame.
8.
He has just cannoned a loose red, though, into the pack of reds there, so his options are a little bit more reduced. As you can see, that red there
9.
to the left of the main bunch doesn't pot into this right corner, so really only got a couple of loose reds he can play for. There's another look from our overhead at this superb long red from Shaun. But it was the only ball he could have left, worth taking on.
$15. 16.
Left himself a perfect angle on the blue to go into the pack of reds. And never any guarantees, though, that they'll finish well. Oh, he's played that really well, but incredibly, the reds didn't seem to move very much.
21. $22.
Well, it's not quite the Murphy strut, but he's starting to look a bit more confident. He knows the score here. He knows what he needs to do. It's in his hands.
27. 28.
Probably didn't want to be this far away from the black, but with the angle he has, he could go into them again here. Oh, he hasn't gone behind that red, surely to goodness.
35.
Well, again, Shaun may have to go into these reds. There's a big shelf of about 5 or 6 reds there that are all blocking each other. Ah, but those 2 reds there, you can see, are available.
43.
Shaun wants to play the low of these 2 reds, but that is very tight. Oh dear. Now that was just poor cueing. He came up and over the
Shaun Murphy.
ball there as he struck it.
43.
He does have a rather loopy cue action, Shaun, and it just let him down there. Just caused him to cue across it in part unwanted side, and that was enough.
I think that shot sort of sums up the match for him. He just hasn't been at his best, basically, and he knows it. That was a chance to really start to turn the session in his favour, wasn't it? Replaying it in his mind.
But if Steve Maguire doesn't win this frame, he will start to feel a little uncomfortable. And although Shaun, as you can see, is bitterly disappointed because he probably felt he had the frame won with that opportunity. This isn't straightforward with Steve Maguire. Those 5 reds around the pink there may need to be developed.
Fine. Well.
No.
13.
Try to cannon the red probably there, Stephen, just to hold the cue ball up. He's just about on this green, but if you start to feel a little bit tense and pressured, this is exactly the sort of ball you can miss. Hasn't held the cue ball. None of the 4 reds near that pink are potable, as you can see. Well, unless he takes on a very difficult red to the green pocket, that's end of break.
17.
Well, you know what they say, no guts, no glory. That was a brave shot. It was a great shot. And Murphy had, well, both the best and worst view of it, didn't he? It was travelling towards him, that red. I really have always admired Maguire's sort of competitiveness, and he knows the psychology. But with a shot like that, you've got to get it, basically. So it was high tariff, but he did, and he presses on, trying to steal another frame and really make himself a big, big favourite to win this match.
He's in good shape now. That was a wonderful pot on the red. I didn't fancy it because it's not the sort of shot that comes up very often. It's certainly not a red you'd sort of practice, really. But those three reds are awkward, but the left-hand one will pot into the centre pocket. And if Steve Maguire decides to play for that left-hand red into the centre, automatically the other two are nicely available into the left corner. And he's beautifully on the black here, just to stun up for that red. So key shots coming up here.
$31. 32.
Played that really well, but he needs another good positional shot here. Avoided the cannon on the pink. He's perfect.
Yeah, he's favourite now for this frame. Shaun Murphy was looking good. But this was the red that he missed. And not only did he miss it, he opened other reds up in the process.
40.
Stephen wasn't perfectly on that black. He'd like to be a lot closer than this to the red, but he can stun this in, play up for the blue, play for the pink if he wished. Blue it is.
48.
Here's his cue ball to slow down. It's going to be okay. I think Shaun's last hope has now expired.
Yes, I mean, anything's missable, but Maguire has been very dependable in the match in this sort of environment, with a chance to steal a frame.
55.
And he needs green and brown to do that, and it's a big frame to get to 12. Shaun is sort of half looking and half looking away. In fact, he's more looking away than anything. He knows these balls are going in, that's why. He expects Maguire to pot this brown, and he expects to be 12-7 down. Yeah, dependable is the word. I think Maguire's been very impressive in this match, in all areas. Took on the red, didn't he, to that green pocket. That was the big moment, really, in the frame.
67.
When it looked like he might have broken down. Big task, even for a great player like Shaun Murphy. He's got to win 6-0 from here.
73. And the frame.
Come on, Stevie, they shout. He's looking good for quarter-final number 8 at the Crucible. He leads Shaun Murphy 12-7.
Thank you. Settle down, please. The 20th frame. Shaun Murphy to break.
Yeah, frame 20 of a possible 25, but it could conceivably be the last frame It's 12-7 to Stephen Maguire, who's done a bit of a number on Shaun Murphy in this match. Great match play from the Scot all round. He made a terrific clearance there in the last frame.
Thank you.
And he's poised to set up a quarter-final meeting with another qualifier, Dave Gilbert. But we said right from the off in this tournament, the qualifiers felt very close to the seeds. A lot of players qualified who've won tournaments, have been top 16 players, 32 players here, all in the world's top 45. They're not rank outsiders by any means. They're top players. It's Maguire. Too close to that one. Nice pot, nice cannon. He's in first, which has been a bit of a rarity for Shaun Murphy in this match. Let's see how far he gets.
8. Nine.
Well, split isn't great. Trying to
16.
develop reds, but has not been left with anything easy, certainly. And of course, he knows he's potentially one shot away from exiting the tournament. The tournament that means a lot to him as a former champion back in 2005. So just having to accept it and play safe.
Shaun Murphy, 16.
This was the last frame. That's where that frame turned when he was in. But on this occasion, he's gone into the reds, didn't land on anything.
Yeah, he just lost the rhythm of the strike of the ball there. It's more of a hit than a stroke. And tension does that to you all the time. Well, the red just above the blue would cut in. I don't know what sort of frame of mind Shaun is in at the moment, whether he thinks he needs to go out with all guns blazing or just play normal snooker, really, and just try to work his way back in the match.
Well, it's an open table, isn't it? It might be one chance for either player. Of course, in Maguire's case, that would be to get the match won.
You could theoretically play that red next to the blue, roll in behind the blue, but you really got to trust the table. Oh, he's playing it. He's playing it. Well, I wonder if the cue ball did just turn a fraction. You're only talking a few millimetres. Could have been a match winner. I think Shaun can see enough of this red, though, to attempt it.
1. Eight.
Always got to be careful with these when they're just off the cushion like this.
9.
The problem is, he played it with topspin, so the cue ball just slid off the cushion a little, and that's why it's so narrow on this black. Yeah, it was the fact he was low on the black. He couldn't get the purchase on the cue ball that he needed, really, to get into the reds. Still has one on, but it's tricky.
17.
Oh, they're not going in cleanly, but they're going in.
This is where you see the aggression of Murphy, which is absolutely what you need at this point. We've seen a few players in the event sort of head bowed a little bit when they're behind, but he's still going to stand up and fight for this. He just loves being out there. I mean, you can see with the way he's dressed, his intro, everything about him says showman, doesn't it? And he wants to be the star of the show. There's nothing wrong with that.
22. $23. $30. $31. $38.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a century here from Shaun, the way he's feeling. Psychologically, he probably thinks he's out for the match now, and he can relax a little bit because he knows by relaxing it's probably his best chance of playing anything like we know he can.
$46.
He did make a century against Lu Haishan in the first round.
47.
Highest break so far in this match, though, just 66. Well, this is the red as he checks the scoreboard that should make it 12-8 and at least take us to an interval. But, of course, he was looking to win this mini session. He would, in fact, only have drawn it.
53.
Even so, good break this. Needs to summon up 5 more, doesn't he, of these frames, really.
$58.
Maguire will be happy enough with his morning's work thus far.
59. $66. $67.
Well, that's a shame.
Murphy.
He has increased his highest break to 67. He'd have loved a century, but main thing is he's still in the match. As the players go to the interval, Steve Maguire is one away, leading 12-8.
Thank you, the 21st frame. Steve Maguire.
So the players are back after the interval. How many more frames will we see? Steve Maguire still needs one. He was 12-7 up. Shaun Murphy made that 67 break to pull the last one back. So 12-8. Murphy's still up against it. The thing is, all the sessions have been close. Maguire won each of the first two 5-3, but of course that gave him the 10-6 lead. It's been split 2 each here. So he's still got a 4-frame advantage.
There's no doubt about it, though. Shaun has the game and the ability to reel off 3 or 4 frames very quickly. But in this situation, you've got to think to yourself, right, what have I got to do now to put my opponent under pressure? And if Shaun could just win a couple of frames in succession, reduce it to 12-10, Steve Maguire will feel just a little uneasy, you'd feel.
Well, the head-to-head is close. It's 12-11 Murphy. The last time Murphy beat Maguire was actually back in the China Championship 7 years ago, 2017. He beat him 5-0. That's what he needs to do now, of course, from here. Of course, their most recent meeting was at the Crucible 2 years ago, round 1. Maguire won 10-8.
Yes, and of course I've been mentioning
Careful with
about
the rappers, please.
cue changes and experimentations of Steve Maguire. As soon as he won that match against Shaun, he went straight back to Scotland to pick up another cue that he thought he preferred and came back to play round 2 with that. Extraordinary.
Maybe he could play every round with a different cue, maybe. The whole sort of 3 cues experiment of Shaun Murphy's gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? And not much has been heard about that. Anyway, this is a chance.
Yes, just needs one good positional shot here, Shaun. The red should be a certainty. Black spot, as you can see, is clearly in the open there. The red's already nicely spread. Where's this cue ball going to finish?
1.
Oh, well, that's an awkward cannon in some regards. Black is probably an easier pot than the blue, but positionally the blue gives Shaun the opportunity to play for the red nearest this left corner. That's a good pot from Shaun. Now he could stun across with the black, but he'd be leaving entirely the right angle on it, so I'm sure he'll go up for the blue again.
7.
Too far, it seems, but it has the brown. But where does the next red come from? It's not going to be easy to get on one of possibly 2 reds that he could get onto. There's a red to the right of the pink. That one there, he couldn't leave himself straight on this, of course. He wouldn't be able to see enough of it, but he can still play for it. But we'll need to be very precise here.
$11.
I think that's as good as Shaun could have expected. He's on the red, but now he's going to have to screw through the reds and the pink and hope to be on a colour, really. Oh, he's played that well. Really cued that well. And he's certainly on the pink. He's having to work for every ball here, Shaun.
He's given it a good go, isn't he? He's given this a good go, trying to rattle frames off and hope to unsettle Maguire in doing so.
I wonder if Shaun's best option of being on a red here is to just try and play the cue ball in and amongst them off this bulk cushion. I think he's chosen to. Just wanted that cue ball to be a few inches left of where it actually was, but that's not the worst cannon. he can play for the black from this red.
Well, I thought the running he had yesterday was pretty horrible, so maybe he deserves the odd nice little nudge. He needs all the help he can get at the moment.
$19.
Just felt that Shaun tried to make sure of the pot there rather than get absolutely perfectly on the black. So he'll have to play a cannon again here just to hold the cue ball in position. And you'd think he'd be on something given the position of the reds, but nothing's guaranteed, is it, in snooker? Oh, he's gone through them. Was that intentional? I wonder. It's a long way away from this red next to the pink.
26. $27.
Very lucky Shaun there. He caught the bump of the corner pocket. Intended to be on the black. Now is he on the pink? Just maybe? Well, first glance is always the best, and I don't think Shaun's entirely sure.
Green ball.
Well, disappointing, but he's just having to accept the break's over.
Shaun Murphy, 97.
That's a beautifully struck safety from Steve Maguire, and Shaun needs to be very careful here because he knows that any mistake that he makes now could easily be his last.
Yeah, and that could be it. Go on, Stevie, they cry again. It is his chance, this.
One.
Well, Shaun can only sit and hope now that he'll return to the table, but it's in the hands of this man, Steve Maguire. I wonder if he'll play for the red to the right of the black spot here. Because if he can just play for that, nudge the other red slightly out of the way or be on the black with a decent angle on it, and then the whole frame will be at his mercy.
Seven. Eight.
be happy with that. That cue ball just ran through a touch, and this black's a bit thinner than Stephen wanted it to be. You'll have to fight now to hold the cue ball. The red that's closest to the pink, he could just about hold for, but he'd have to pot this black with a lot of right-hand side, check side. Easy to overrun this. Stephen knew he couldn't hold it, so he's had to already leave a red from distance.
15.
Again, he's just got to kill the pace of the cue ball here to control it.
16.
Didn't quite manage it, just too much topspin on the cue ball. Didn't create the angle he wanted to for the blue into the left centre. So he's searching for one more good shot here.
Twenty-one.
Well, I think you only need to look at his face, don't you, to work out what's happened.
Oh, if he just misses that initial cannon, that rueful grin, you see, this is just years of experience. We've played so many matches over the years. We just know this is exactly what tends to happen to you when you need one more good kiss from a difficult pot. It's incredible how things can just go astray. I mean, he's in the middle there of 6 reds and he doesn't really have a pot on.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing should there have been the cue ball, but he's cannoned into colours and has not got the cue ball into a safe position.
Shaun could attempt this red into the corner pocket. He can stun off a side cushion for the black, but again, it's one of those pots. If it doesn't go in, he'd be lucky not to leave an opportunity for Stephen Maguire to once again wrap up frame and match.
Well, go on, Shaun, the shouting now. So Maguire was in, he had his chance, he's missed it a couple since then. Just catches the pink here. And Shaun Murphy does get another opportunity to keep the match alive.
One.
Stephen, I'm sure, is anxious to get this match done with, but he's playing someone in Shaun that will never give in, will try as hard as he can, because, as I said, you know, he can win 3 or 4 frames in quick succession in no time at all, and that will place pressure on Steve Maguire.
6.
You can play many players and you can be 12-8 up on them, and you can see by their demeanour, their shot choices, that they're virtually given up. You'll see none of that with Shaun Murphy.
That's right, and that's why I think, you know, they all say play the balls, not the man, but actually who you're playing does have an impact on how you feel and where you feel the match is going. Maguire knows Murphy well.
14.
He knows what sort of character he is. He knows he hasn't given up. And he knows he can be very dangerous if he hits his stride.
15.
And a couple more reds and colours, and Stephen would need that awkward red. Shaun certainly won't need to worry about it. If he can just pop these 3 remaining reds with colours, it will be 12-9.
$23. $30. $31. $38. $39.
Well, he's done enough. Didn't dislodge the red, but I can't see Maguire playing on from here. 52 behind, 35 on.
$46.
He had a chance in that
Henry
frame, but it is Shaun Murphy who wins it. Maguire not there yet. It's 12-9.
Thank you. Settle down, please, to 22nd frame. Shaun Murphy to win.
Sunday morning at the Crucible, the middle Sunday of this great championship. We're halfway point today. Shaun Murphy would love to still be here, of course, on Tuesday for the quarterfinals. He's up against it, but he has won the last 2. It's 12-9 now to Stephen Maguire.
Just didn't catch that safety as intended, and this red that's nearest the right corner is on for Shaun. But the black does appear to be a little tied up now. Sure, Stephen still reflecting on the good blue that he knocked in, and the unfortunate series of kisses he had that left him on nothing.
1.
Good pot. And these good pots from Shaun will be registering with Steve Maguire. And Shaun can just start to knock in a couple of big breaks and win frames in one visit. Well, he's not out of this match yet.
$6. 7. Twelve. Shaun Murphy. 12.
Looks utterly bemused that the red's still on the table.
Yes, these pockets are playing tighter this year.
1.
I was interested by one of the audience members' encouragement of Steve Maguire. Come on, Maverick, they said. Now, Stephen obviously thinks his black's on. Well, that's worked out perfectly. So once again, this match is in the hands of Steve Maguire.
9.
Yeah, I don't know what makes him a maverick other than sort of alliteration with his name, but anyway, he's a proper snooker player, that's the main thing. And he's got experience of putting these matches to bed.
17.
But if he doesn't win the match here, or at least get close, then it may just be a sign to Shaun Murphy that there's an opportunity.
Just stopped in his tracks there, Dave, didn't he? Because that cue ball rebounded very quickly off the side cushion.
24. $25.
Yeah, you see the shot he had to play there just because of a fast bounce off the side cushion previously. And this isn't perfect. Having to work again for position. Again, that cue ball seemed to rebound rather quickly.
32.
Well, rueful grin indeed. Choice of 2 reds, but he's not ideally on either of them.
$33.
Played that very well. It was very coolly done. He knew he'd be opening other reds. Every ball Maguire pots is a concern for Murphy that he may have played his last shot at the World Championship this year.
$40. $41.
Once again, perhaps another fast bounce, but if Stephen were to ask for the cue ball to be cleaned, I'm sure it would solve that. perhaps that was a slightly heavy contact, indicative that there could be some greasy spots of chalk residue on the cue ball, causing fast bounces and bad contacts. Got to be worth having the cue ball cleaned.
Yeah, I mean, why not is the answer. It's the question, sorry. Why not have it cleaned if there's a slight issue with conditions? Either way, still going. And that looks like the winning shot. He always had the open red available
56
as well, but he's got these into play. He's got a nice lead already. He's beginning to look like the end of the road for Shaun Murphy and the continuation of the adventure this year for Stephen Maguire. An adventure, of course, that started at the English Institute of Sport. Those qualifiers, as we know, are very tough to come through. He beat Ashley Hugel 10-7. And Yuan Shijun 10-6. They weren't easy matches. Certainly Ali Carter in round one wasn't an easy match. This was never going to be. But he kind of got on top early on, didn't he? Controlled the match early on. Kept Shaun Murphy out
62.
and is now very close to the winning line.
'63.
We'll need another red after the black. The supporters fully expect him to pot it. He's had a quiet couple of years since he reached the quarterfinals here in 2022, but Stephen Maguire making his presence known at the Crucible this year. It was always an intriguing match. They're old rivals, these two. A lot of respect between them as snooker players, different sorts of people. I think the last frame yesterday was big, wasn't it? The way he stole that for 10-6 just gave him breathing space, and the way he won it as well was a massive blow to Murphy.
'84. '85.
Well, wouldn't it be fitting if Steve Maguire could round off victory with a century break here? He's managed to keep Shaun Murphy at bay throughout the match. He's found it's a big struggle to get the chances that he's been looking for, Shaun. Steve Maguire will be delighted with the way that he's performed in this match.
Yeah, great finish this. To a great win for Stephen Maguire.
100.
Been a reminder to everyone, as if they needed it. What a great all-round player he is. So David Gilbert next for a place in the semi-finals.
105.
It's been 12 years since Maguire was last in the one-table setup here at the Crucible. For Shaun Murphy, the Crucible adventure is over for another year.
114.
Murphy sparkling in his waistcoat. Maguire remains still as the comeback failed to materialise.
120.
And this is how you win a match. He'll feel so good that he's taken it out like this. When the first chance came, he produced a brilliant clearance of 127. Shaun Murphy's always gracious in defeat. It's Stephen Maguire who marches into the quarterfinals of the World Championship for an 8th time. He'll take on David Gilbert next. He's beaten Shaun Murphy 13-9.